mark, though. They've gotten here a couple of times, 3 over 500, and have always come back, and they've bobbed, and that's the high tide so far. You've got to get past that. That's another reason why tonight would be good, because you win tonight, you give yourself finally above that 3. You're now 4, and then, you know what I mean? I don't know, psychologically, I'm sure they're not stuck on 3 games, but it seems like they're subconsciously stuck there because they haven't gotten past it yet. So that would be another thing there to get past that. It all starts tonight, 8:10 p.m. with the White Sox. You got House and Quintana, as you said. Noesi and Kluber tomorrow. Carrasco and Danks wrapping things up on Thursday. And, I'm trying my best to do like they need to do and take it one game at a time, because as you look, you can totally see how if you take care of business in game 1, you could see the entire series falling in line for the Indians, but it all starts here, because otherwise you're scrambling behind the 8 ball to get back and win tomorrow and then get back on Thursday. So, you don't want to look at games 2 and 3, but if they take care of business tonight, this series could be a really good one for the Indians.
That's right. Hopefully they can do that and then keep the momentum going down into the big games with Kansas City, and I would love to see the Indians come back home for those first 4 games against the Tigers with a lot of momentum and a lot of crowd support, because it's going to start, it's going to start on Labor Day, and then, right before the Browns really get going, hopefully the Indians can just get a lot of attention on them from the Cleveland fans, right before football season really starts, and maybe get behind the Indians for that big stretch at home against the Tigers, and maybe when they come out of that, maybe they can actually be in contention so we can really have a fun September.
Man, I'll tell you what, gonna have some hopefully some big crowds for that one too. This week is gonna set the stage for that, like you said, with the holiday and Detroit and coming on. I'm with it, man, and I'm fired up. You got me fired up, but you can't get to Detroit without going through Chicago and Kansas City. And you know what? As much as that Detroit series is nice to look at, Kansas City looms big. You have 6 games left against them. I mean, to me, the shortest route to the postseason is not the one everybody's looking at. It's not the wild card. It's the frickin' division. You've got 6 games left against Kansas City. That's your deficit right there. You win all the games against Kansas City, all of a sudden you start controlling that destiny. You don't have to worry about what the Yankees are doing. You don't have to worry about what Seattle's doing. You don't have to worry about what Detroit's doing, because you can pass them on your way to the top of the division. So, that's why I say they control their own destiny in the division, not in the wild card,
That's right, and we have to hope that the Royals maybe peaked a little bit early, because they got a lot of young players. A lot of guys who haven't been in a pennant race before, and I'm sure they're very excited that they were able to run down the Tigers in August and take that number 1 spot. But I'm hoping that they're going to kind of fade a little bit under the pressure. Every game being important down September. Hopefully that pressure will get to them, and maybe they'll, like I said, come back a little bit to earth before the end of the season. That would really be nice.
I'm telling you, like my man James Brown in the background, I got that feeling. Now, then again, I've had it all season, and I haven't shook it. But the Indians have a chance to back me up here. Come on, man. If not for yourselves, if not for the Indians, if not for Cleveland, do it for J-Rock, baby. I've had your back all season long. Make me look good, baby. But I do. I got the feeling that they're coming together at just the right time, Pepper. I'm telling you. I'm feeling it here with these Indians.
That's right. Hopefully they're listening to you right now. They're listening to James Brown. They're going to get on up.
Got that different song, but all right, whatever,
different
man.
Song,
hey, listen, you know what? Whatever, we don't all have to be, this can be individual thoughts here. We don't all have to be on the same page. It's not a cult here at the Sports Fix. If you want it to be a different song, it can be a different song. It's still James Brown.
I said because the movies get on up.
I know. Actually, I haven't. You know what? That's that's on my short list. I want to see that. Actually, I've heard that is a very good movie. I'm interested in seeing that. I love James Brown.
Yeah, me too.
He's a fascinating character, good and bad, with some of the things that he's done. So, yeah, you haven't seen it?
No, I haven't yet.
Have you seen anything? You go out to the weirdest places in the world. You are always at a mystery. You're at the hidden volcano that we didn't know Ohio had one week. You're at the log cabin that still got the dishes from Abe Lincoln the next week. And yet, every time I ask you if you've seen something, you say no.
The surprising thing is I actually see a lot of movies. One of my jobs is to go to the movie theaters and report on the trailers to see how the audience reacts to the trailers. So I've seen a whole lot of movies all summer, but yet I haven't seen Get On Up. That's one of the few that I haven't seen.
Wait a minute, I'm in the wrong gig here. Yeah, one of your jobs, you go to movie theaters and see how people react to the trailers. Dude, we need to talk, because that's the kind of job. That's the kind of job everybody needs to have, man. I mean,
it's a great gig, man.
Why are people digging ditches? Why are people building bridges and doing all this hard work? How do we go to the movie theater and report on the trailers and how people react? No, I'm digging it. I love it, man. You have got all kinds of little odds and ends that you get yourself into that I'm like, hey, man, but that's how you craft together a cool little gig. Just like I've done the same thing here, man. People don't hand it to you, man. You go out and you find all these little pieces, you put them together, and you go, hey, I got a pretty good gig going on here,
That's right. I got to give Mrs. Gorman a lot of credit. She finds all this stuff for me.
Well, there you go. Shout out to Mrs. Gorman. All right, Jeff. Indians are getting at it. 6 on the road. By the time they come back home, you and I will be here talking next week after the holiday. You and I will catch up about the Browns later this week, but we will. So I'll get a chance to wish you a happy holiday. But we'll catch up next week. We'll know. I think we'll have a real early feeling on what's coming up by the time you and I catch up next Tuesday.
I can't wait. I have a feeling that it's going to go pretty good. I don't see the Indians falling on their face. I'd love it. They'd at least be 500. But, man, if they could just win 4 out of 6 like they did this last week, that'd be fantastic.
Look, I see what you did there. All right. I'm with it. Jeff Gorman, my man. You have a good one. We'll catch up on Friday, talk a little Browns, and then we'll be back Tuesday doing the Indians thing. Let's see if they make us look good, man.
All right. Thank you very much, J-Rock. Sounds like a plan.
You got it. And, of course, you guys can always tweet with my man at Indians_101, at Indians_101. And you can check him out at Indians101.com. Jeff's with us every Tuesday talking Tribe. He's with us every Friday talking Browns. So we'll catch back up with him here. You know what? I got calls coming in. I'm going to go right back to the phone before we hit the break. The news, Dr. Football, all of that. I've had the phones blowing up during Jeff's segment. So I'm going to go back to him right now. Caller, you're on the Sports Fix.
J-Rock Daddy, how you doing?
Hey, this is my man LG. What's up, big dog?
I'll tell you what, man, I know in the past I've been ridiculed for telling the truth about our Cleveland Browns football team, and this year I'm even more worried. I know it's only preseason, J-Rock, but I don't see any more organizational skills coming from our coaching department. And I got to tell you, man, I don't know if you saw the latest coming out of Deadspin. 40 minutes ago, this article was published, man. This thing is right on the money. Why your team sucks in 2014, the Cleveland Browns.
Well, you know they did. By the way, real quick, you do know that they did one of those for every team, right? Like they did a whole series of those.
This one cracks me up, J-Rock. Did you get to see it?
I have not seen the Browns one yet because it just came out. You said while we were on the air, so
let me read you a couple excerpts out of this and tell me this baby ain't right on the money. The 2013 record, 4-12, and you know what? Things didn't start off that bad last season for Cleveland. They kicked Brandon Whedon to the curb after 2 weeks in favor of Brian Hoyer, who played really well in the 2 consecutive victories. They traded Trent Richardson, a move now that looks momentally shrewd, given that Trent is terrible. Without the pick, the Browns wouldn't have been able to draft Whedon's successor. Chaszynski looked mildly competent, even though the team's first choice, Chip Kelly, spun them. And we'll go running from there. Okay, Josh Gordon and Jordan Cameron were tearing.
Yeah, I see it. I see it.
I tell you, this thing cracks me up, man. Especially when you get down to the bottom.
I've read these for every team so far. I've got the Browns one in front of me now that you're talking about. I'm looking at it. I mean, yeah, we all know the whole list of all this stuff that happened last year and all of that. I mean, I get it, but
the guy goes in at the bottom and tells you why the team's going to continue this.
Yeah, but you know what? There's one of those. There's one of those for San Francisco and Seattle and every other team too. Why your team sucks? The Seattle Seahawks, and they do the exact same thing. So that's not exactly a fair representation. It's not like they just did it to Cleveland. They did the same thing to defending Super Bowl
turn on the television, J-Rock, and watch your Browns game, and you can clearly see that we're not looking that good this season, man. I know the season hasn't started yet, but where's the killer defense? How does the defense give up all those points to the Rams of all people, man?
6-10, man. Okay, you're not arguing with some guy that said the Browns are going to the Super Bowl. I didn't say that.
But didn't you at least expect an 8-8 or a 9-7 coming up, or what?
I didn't at least expect anything. I haven't made a prediction yet. What I said is based on what I've seen so far. At best, this is a 6-10 season. At best, that's what I've seen so far. I will wait until the first real game of the season. I will watch it, and I will definitely know whether we're right or not because there'll be no more preseason excuses. But yeah, at best, this is a 6-10 team. To me, if you're 6-10, that's an upgrade over 4-12. So take your 2-game improvement and draft well again, and then take it from there.
But by the time you draft well again, we're going to have to replace a couple other players. You know how this works every year.
That's how you build through the draft.
It's getting old. It's getting old, J-Rock. I want to see some wins, baby.
LG, you don't have to replace players again. If you stop replacing everybody, then maybe you get good. No, you don't have to replace more players. If you draft, and the draft picks contracts are made to be a part of the team for a stretch of time affordably. You know what I'm saying? I mean, no, you don't.
Correct. But what I'm saying is guys come and go every season. You know that.
And it's because of the regime.
Look at T.J. Ward. I mean, Joe Thomas.
T.J. Ward was here
how many more great years of football does Joe Thomas have in him?
Well, Joe Thomas is at the end. I'm talking about T.J. Ward was here his whole career. He went through several regime changes. And guess what? If they do it again, Joel Bitonio.
It's not hard to go through several regime changes when you play for the Cleveland Browns, J-Rock.
Exactly. That's the problem. The problem is not the coaches. It's not the players. I mean, those are problems too. The biggest problem is the stability. We can talk about this until we're blue in the face. I mean, plain and simple. You can't change these guys. I don't care if you think Mike Pettine's a high school coach or not. You are stuck with him for at least the next 2 seasons. If you make a change after this season, it will just be the stupidest thing you could possibly do, which is why half the people expect the Browns to go out and do it for no other reason than common sense. These guys have at least 2 years to go out there and show what they can do. And if they don't, good luck, because like you said, then you'll be moving more draft picks out for other people's draft picks, and you'll be moving more free agents out for other people's free agents, and you will continue to be 4 or 5 or 3 and something for the next 10 years. And I got to think that that's got to change at the top. So that's why I think, if nothing else, those guys are guaranteed a second season. They can go 0-16. Well, no, you know what? I'll say it. They go 0-16. There's maybe Pettin gets fired, but Farmer sure doesn't. Ray Farmer's going to get the opportunity.
No, I don't see him changing Ray Farmer. Ray Farmer's probably the safest guy in the organization because, let's face it, J-Rod, Daddy, Ray Farmer did not hire Mike Pettin.
I understand that.
So the excuse is already there that if they did fire Mike Pettin after only 1 year with the Cleveland Browns, which is very likely if they produce him with a winning season. I told you guys right after the team hired.
I've had a few people that don't. Most people are cool with Mike Pettin so far, but I've had some people that don't like him and make their shots at him. Let me tell you, if Mike Pettin gets replaced, you guys got a chance to hear the idiot that will be the next coach of the Cleveland Browns last week on Monday Night Football. You know damn well that Smiling Pilot Jimmy is going after Gruden. And if you listen to that idiot for 3 hours call a football game, if you want that maroon to be the coach of your football team, good luck. Because he's as infatuated as can be with Johnny Football. And we all know my feelings. We know the realities of that and what the work that needs to be done for that to even have a possibility of perhaps happening in the future. But if you listen to that goof talk long enough, you go, man, no wonder he gets paid to sit here and do this, because I sure wouldn't want to pay him to be on the sidelines of my football team. I'm not a Gruden fan. I don't think he's all that some of his fans think he is, but you know who does? Jimmy Haslam. So if Mike Pettin goes out in one season, You've heard the new coach of your Browns already, and he can come in here and he can install the Johnny Manziel offense, and away we go. And you can take that good, or you can take that as reality and bad. But it is what's going to happen if Mike Pettin moves out.
Daddy, I'll tell you something, J-Rock Daddy. You can forget about John Gruden coming in and taking over the Cleveland Browns, because this team is in too far disarray. If Tony Dungy isn't at the helm handing John Gruden a football team that was a winning football